Linda McFadden, and we are going to be talking about Life Between Lives session. Now, this work is based on the work of Dr. Michael Newton, and I trained under his supervision 10 years ago in Chicago. It's a profound spiritual experience. It's the creme de la creme. It has a potential of being incredibly life-changing, life-altering. It's a journey into the spiritual world, and it's based on the belief that, again, that we incarnate to learn lessons. And so what happens is we incarnate on earth to learn lessons, and then we cross over when we die into the spiritual world, and then we come back down, we learn more lessons, go back up. So past life regression, as you saw in the last video, was about these lifetimes that we've lived on this earthly planet, and Life Between Lives is about what's going on up here, who you are as a soul. In this state, when you undergo a Life Between Lives session, you're looking to identify what your soul's purpose is, the reason why you incarnated. We will look at who your soul group is, why you chose the body that you did, and who your soulmate is, and you'll actually probably find the answer quite surprising. And during this process, you will meet your spirit guide, who actually will be accompanying us and assisting in the facilitation of your experience. In the spiritual realm, there have been identified station stops, which is the term that Dr. Newton had used, and you are guided from one station stop to another based on where you're at and what your spirit guide wants you to experience. So, for example, you could go to the library. You can go to your soul group and identify the members in your soul group. There's a library, life and body selection, classroom activities, as well as meeting with your council group. Now, the council group is made up of masters who have chosen this role in order to assist you in your spiritual journey. And there's generally from 3 to 12 that are there and will give you feedback on how you're doing in this incarnation. And if they need to, they'll kick your butt and get you back on track if you're off track. So the purpose of this is that it can be very, very profound for those who are struggling and have lost a loved one. But many can question this, and to be honest with you, I questioned this process myself. And when I was first starting out, I had a client who had done the past life and received tremendous benefit from it, had a healing. And so I asked her whether or not she would be open to be a candidate for a Life Between Lives session, because it was a prerequisite for me to actually obtain my certification with Dr. Michael Newton, and she agreed. And one of the things that I asked her was to avoid reading any of Dr. Newton's work. And she agreed. She had no problem with that. And she came in to do a session with me. And as I was going through the session with her, as she was going through her soul journey, and I was asking her questions, I thought, oh my gosh, she's read the book. Okay, she had to have read the book. I mean, this is textbook. She's going from one stop to the next without any direction from me. So I was a little disappointed, and I brought her out, and she was amazed at her journey, and there was a point where I said to her, so you've read the book? And she looked at me startled, and she said, no, you asked me not to. That example there helped to confirm to me on a professional level as well as a personal level, over and above my own experience, that there was incredible value to this work. And I have found it to have immense value for clients who are incarnated on this three-dimensional realm. had a client come in whose daughter had committed suicide, and he was really struggling with that. He was a helper himself, and to have his daughter take her own life just impacted him in a very deep and devastating way. And I was able to facilitate a Life Between Lives session with him. And at that point, he was actually able to meet his daughter on a soul level. And she explained to him that the incredible pain that she was under because of a disease that she had been diagnosed with was the reason for her suicide, that it had nothing to do with his parenting skills, what he did and what he didn't do. And he found that incredibly soothing to take forward with him in this incarnation. So I am convinced of just how meaningful this work can be, and I feel honored and privileged to be able to play a piece in that type of change. I had a client come in who had struggled with depression all of her life. And she essentially said she was born with depression. And if you looked at her, you'd see this lovely, lovely woman, beautiful. And you would say, like, this is, what do you have to be depressed about? And of course, I mean, I know that there's more things that go on, but she described a normal childhood and great parents and great siblings. And so anyway, we went into the Life Between Lives session. And this was my first experience with a hybrid soul. And what she explained is that she incarnated on Earth, and it was her first incarnation, and that she found that our body, our physical three-dimensional body, was too dense for her, coming from where she was accustomed to being. And so she would be what would be classified as a hybrid soul. After that session, she was telling me how much sense that made to her, that she had another type of physical expression rather than this three-dimensional body. And afterwards, I did a follow-up with her afterwards, and after that session, she had quit smoking, she had started working out, and her depression had lifted. So that was quite amazing when you think of the amount of change that she underwent as a result of her Life Between Lives session. When you meet with the masters, and usually meeting with the council members are a piece of your Life Between Lives session, you will find that they are very loving, that they are very non-judgmental, and they are very accepting. They, as I've said, will give you a kick in the butt. But it's also helpful when you do your soul journey that when you meet on that soul level, you're gathering all kinds of information. So, for example, identifying signs that your higher self has put in place for you to recognize in this three-dimensional world that serves as a sign of hope or comfort or solace. For myself, it's a twinkle, and others, it's rainbows, butterflies. It could be a feeling that just washes over them. In looking to undergo a Life Between Lives session, if you're interested or know someone that might benefit from it, a past life regression is required. It's in order to ensure that you're able to achieve the required depth. The past life regression takes place in the lower alpha, whereas the Life Between Lives session takes place in the theta state, which is a much deeper level of relaxation. Now, of course, you will still be conscious, you will still be aware, you will be talking to the facilitator, and it can take up to 3 to 4 hours. So, what type of questions would you be looking at having answered in the Life Between Lives session? Well, you would be, who am I as a soul? What did I incarnate to learn? How many times have I incarnated? Am I on track in my lessons in this lifetime? What steps do I need to take in order to get me where it is that I want to go? So at this level, you are tapping into your higher self and experiencing your soul state and recognizing that your spirit guide, your higher self, is always there to support you and to guide you if you can only pay attention and learn to listen. After sessions, the typical response for an LBL from my clients is simply one word, and it's wow, wow, wow. So many of them are actually left speechless, and that's what they utter. And I give them some time to sort of take that information in. One of the things that I've been able to discuss with the masters is the existence of spiritual laws and spiritual truths and the importance of them, that they are here to guide us in this three-dimensional life. Many of us don't know of their existence, or we don't know how to use them accurately. And specifically, I'm referring to the law of cause and effect, popularly known as the law of attraction, which is actually a law based on contrasts in this three-dimensional, fourth-dimensional world. And it dictates profoundly the experience that you're going to have in this incarnation. What many don't realize is that it is impacted by many factors on a spiritual and fifth dimensional level, and that it's a powerful, powerful guiding force. And I believe it's very imperative that we use it to understand where it is that we want to go and how to get there.